Greetings, soul family. Amenti, the awakener here. Amenti, the oracle, jumping on and doing a very impromptu live as guided by spirit, and especially as guided by the angelics, the angelic consciousness today. So I want to invite those who feel called to this live, those who are aligned to be in this space, Oh my God. And then the confirmation right there, butterfly 88888, journey of a self 888. And I'll tell you why that is so poignant. So I just want to welcome you all into the room for this very spontaneous live with some direct messages from the angel consciousness, from the angelic consciousness. And I'll also be offering a few readings for those who stay to the end of this transmission. Greetings, Whitney Olsen again, 888. And why is that 888 so important? So this rising, I was called to meditation and prayer. I have been working on, I've been going through my own transformational process internally, divine marriage inside of masculine and feminine energies and integration of higher and lower self. And not just on the etheric level, but really in terms of how I'm showing up in my life and the things that are going on in my life. And you'll find that when you are going through these integrations of inner masculine, inner feminine, you'll find that a lot of shadow stuff is coming up. You'll find that a lot of your relationship stuff is coming up, so that you can have that process of alchemical marriage between your internal and external aspects, because ultimately that's what we're here for. This is a journey of a pursuit of wholeness. How do we bring all aspects of our divine self into one being, recognizing that we are the whole? And so as I've been surrendering to that process, what I've been feeling is a lot of my power coming back to me on all different dimensions and all different levels. And with that power comes an awareness of self. With that power comes the release of limiting beliefs, limiting programs, conditioning, and a real calling into or oneness into the vibration of your soul and the vibration of the truth of your spirit. So no longer are you, or am I, living through the different layers of my personality, living through the different layers of my trauma, living through the different layers of how I see myself as a human or how society sees me, but choosing to really live from the core of my soul, the core of the light that I am. And that happens as we do this shadow healing work, as we do this integration work of all of the internal aspects of yourself. If you're having relationship problems, relationships are showing you about the relationship with yourself. If you are having problems in terms of any aspects of your life, everything is showing you about how to come into harmony with yourself. And so today, as I was in prayer and meditation, the consciousness of the angelics was coming through. And if you understand how energy works, angelic consciousness is higher level consciousness. And each particular angel represents a different aspect of divine consciousness or a power of the divine, right? Again, 8 people giving thanks. So, for a while, I haven't really been working much with the angelic consciousness. And I'll be honest enough to say that over the past, let's say 4 to 5 years, even though I've been ingrained in these school of thoughts, even though I was born into my awareness of spirit and then went through different processes of mystery school and training in order to connect with the angelics and certain energies in the real tangible way, I haven't for some time, because I saw across the spiritual community this wave of disintegrity when we're working with these energies, and people not really understanding what this consciousness is and how we work with angelics, divine beings, all of that kind of stuff. I was seeing it start to become very kind of commercialized, and people not really getting the fullness of what this information is and how we connect with this information. If you look at the energy of angels, it's not something that's new. It is in every single sacred text, or in every single spiritual system, of the understanding of these angelic, which is celestial, higher bodies, higher levels of information and energy that we can connect to. So this rising, as I was doing my prayers, the vibrational energy or essence of a angelic consciousness that I hadn't integrated with before, called Sachiel. Archangel Sachiel came through. And when Archangel Sachiel was coming through, the information that was coming through was all about wealth. It was all about wealth, well-being, and abundance. And it was talking about this being the time where humanity is to release and has an opportunity to release the codes of slavery that have bound them. Now, this slavery is not personal to any particular race or culture, even though there are specific races and cultures who have those slavery codes even deeply embedded within their genetics, right? In their genetics of their humanity. But understanding that there have been some distorted slave codes imparted into the consciousness of humans, into the consciousness of humanity. And what does that mean? It means that we have come into this reality, into this matrix, with the consciousness, or bred into and grown into the consciousness of slavery. What does that mean? This understanding that there is a system outside of us that's more powerful than us. This understanding that we are here to work and give over our most powerful assets to systems, organizations, and constructs. It's this understanding that our very life, our very abundance, our very liberty is dependent on something outside of ourselves. And that is what permits you to be a slave. It's when you are completely dependent on the external system for the things that you need. Greetings, Keith. Sending you much love. So when you're not aware of your own power, when you are completely dependent on something outside of yourself to let you know who you are, to help you to eat, to help you to do all things, then you are a slave. And there are many stories about the planet and how this planet in particular has been a planet in which different other planetary consciousness have sought after because of the resources here, and also have wanted to seed specific forms of beings, creation beings on this planet, so that they can harvest the energy and the resources and things here. Now, it depends on whether you believe in that or not, but this is not about belief. This is actually about the history of the earth. So if you go into the history of the earth, you will understand that this idea and concept of enslavement is one that has been there from the beginning. Even if you look at the Genesis story of the Adam and Eve and them being pushed out of the garden and being all of their faculties being taken away, ate again, you will see that there is this discourse around slavery, whether it's enslaved humans or whether it's us being enslaved by the reality that we're in and tethered into this body. So it's this code around slavery which keeps humans out of their awareness of their true power, ability, and divine inheritance. So when it speaks of things and it says that we are divine by nature, that we are abundant by nature, that is the truth. But when you look into our reality, we kind of feel like we're not abundant by nature. If we want to get up and go and fly somewhere, we have to think about the resources that it's going to take. We have to look at, how much money we've got in our pockets. If we want to create anything in our life, we've got to look at how we can be of service to somebody else, or how we can gain those resources outside of ourselves, because that is what we've been taught. And when it comes to tapping into our own internal resources, we're not sure how to, and we also sometimes don't even trust in our own capacity to be able to create and manifest something that is going to be of value. So when your mindset and your reality is set like that, with subconsciously you become a slave. Subconsciously you diminish your ability to manifest, to create, and to live in that abundance that it says that we all have access to. Right. And if you look again through history, you'll see that there's been different races of beings that have gone through that whole slavery process, whether it's in ancient Egypt, where we talk about the Egyptian slaves, whether it's in the transatlantic slavery, whether it's even the Yugoslavs, where we talk about the white slaves, whether we talk about the Irish. That archetype of slave consciousness or enslavement is not specific to one group of people. It is actually specific to the human race, this particular human race that we are experiencing ourselves through, right? So part of the shift that's needing to take place right now is around releasing that slave consciousness and that slave programming. And how do we do that? Through recognizing and reintroducing ourselves to the idea of internal wealth and resources. What does it mean? That means that recognizing that you are the source, that you have the value, that you have the power, that every thought that you have has the ability to make you a millionaire, that whatever you need, you can create. Because when you are coming from that place, you can never be poor, you can never be controlled. When I was listening to the information that I was receiving from Archangel Sachiel, or the consciousness of Archangel Sachiel, it was talking about from slavery to sovereignty. And that is the journey that we're on, from slavery to sovereignty. When you are asleep, you are a slave. When you are controlled by your reality, when you are controlled by governments and systems, blindly controlled by them, feeling like you don't have any power, then you are a slave. But when you recognize that you do have a power, that you do have a voice, that your very energy is the divine currency that keeps this reality of a system running, then you recognize that you do have the power. And that's what creates the shift from being a slave being to a sovereign being. Over the past couple of years, we have seen an acceleration in the revelation of the underpinning discourse of how this society is run. And what I mean by that is all of the things that we weren't seeing before, the way the establishments work against the people, the way the healthcare system works against the people, all of these things have come to the fore so that we can be illuminated and make the choice now to choose whether we choose to give our energy to these systems, or whether we choose to create systems that are more harmonious. When we look at the way wealth is distributed on the planet, you'll see that a small group of people have access to all of the wealth, while all of the rest of the planets are sold this illusion that they are in poverty, that they are in lack, when our earth is rich and abundant. They are even trying to charge humanity through way of their climate control and climate tax for the damage that they have created on the earth. And what I mean by I mean those who are the ones who are governing this planet and utilizing it and harvesting us and the planet for its energies and resources, right? They will have you believe that there is lack all over the place, and also charge you and send you the invoice for the lack, telling you that it's you that has created this lack, when really it is an illusion, when really it is due to the pillaging of Mother Earth and also Mother Earth's children that we have come into this space, right? And so if you can convince people that they are slaves, if you can convince people that the only way that they can the only way that they can survive is if they get a job, or if they go and get education to get a job and invest in that system, then you are disabling humans. And when you do that, you now create what I call this slave race and this slave mentality. So when I was in this divine communion with Archangel Sachiel, who governs the day of Thursday, which is today, who is said to be the cover of God, meaning that, and I'm not a religious person, I deal with esoteric knowledge and wisdom, and I look for the truth and meaning within all things, right? But this energy of Sachiel represents the covering of God, represents the abundance, the wisdom, and the wealth of God. And so when I was tuning into this frequency, it was reminding us of the fact that we are divinely inherent beings, and that when we are born into the abundance and richness of this planet. Our only purpose and job is to be a steward and custodian of the planet. We are here to be a part of the planet, and we are here to reap the abundance of the planet. However, we've been turned from creator beings into slave beings. And what do I mean by that? What does a creator do? Because we look at it like the divine creator, the source creator, the omnipotent creator is responsible for all things. And yes, it is. But we are all a refraction of that particular entity, that energy that is the divine. So we are as the divine is. So, meaning that we are creator beings. But what does that mean? It means that we have the power to create and manifest anything that we need and desire. We have the ability to create and manifest anything that we can conjure within our own minds, right? That is our ability and that is our gift. But if we are taught that there is a limit to what we can create, if we are taught that, even the gifts and the powers that we have no value, and that the only thing that has value is that which is material and that which can be controlled, then we are essentially being talked out of our own power. Why is all of this stuff important? Because when I was in that meditation with Archangel Cassiel, the main energy that I was getting is that it is time for liberation. Liberation of the mind, liberation of the body, liberation of the spirit. And the reason why Earth is in the way that it is right now is because we've been suppressed in our consciousness and haven't understood ourselves as creator beings. As we enter into this year of, 2024, but we are coming into this new year at the beginning, in March. That's when the energy starts to really come into the fore. We are awakening to this energy of abundance. We are awakening into this energy of transformation. And that abundance and transformation doesn't come outside of ourselves. It comes from within. We have to unlock the richness of our minds. Anything that we can create is what's going to create our abundance. We have to learn to detach from certain systems and organizations that no longer serve us and be part of the creation of new organizations and systems that do support us and the collective. This year of the 8, as because remember I was saying at the beginning, 888 is the number that goes with the energy of Archangel Sachiel. And what does 8 represent? We are number 1 in a collective 8 year. So what does that mean? 8 is the number of power, of authority, of financial prosperity, abundance. It's also the number of the feminine. It's also the number of cycles and infinity. So we've also got an opportunity to break cycles, break generational curses, break strongholds, to dismantle authority and organization that no longer serve us. And that's why you're seeing a lot of that happening in the collective reality. 8 is also the number of power and also the number of breaking chains. What are those chains? The chains on your mind, the chains on your body, the chains on your hands, the chains on your mind that say that life is a certain way, and opening up your mind to recognizing that you are the creator, recognizing to the fact that you are the source of your abundance by the ideas that you have, by opening up yourself to divine inspiration and learning how to master your lower self so that you can be thinking thoughts that produce and create abundance and allow you to make decisions from a place of abundance and truth rather than from a place of scarcity. Right? There are a lot of different rituals that are taking place at this time as we prepare for the new year. You've seen the Grammys, you've seen the Super Bowl. All of these things are about a way of harvesting energy. And how do they do that? They do that because we as people give away our energy to these idols, to these beings. We give away our energy and our attention to these Super Bowls and these rituals without recognizing the power that we have. Just imagine if we were also all to take all of that energy that we all created and conjured together and use it for something positive. But instead we are subconsciously and without awareness utilizing that same powerful energy that we have, that same abundant energy that we have for somebody else's agenda. And that is the slave mentality. We go to work every day and give our energy, our time and resources towards somebody else's agenda. And we don't even quantify the value of that which we're receiving in reflection or that which we're receiving for what we're giving, right? Think of it like this. You are an infinite being with the amount of potential to create anything. When you go to your workplace, when you go to your job, they are utilizing your gifts, your talents, but they are deciding how much they're going to pay you for that energy. You go for an interview, right? And you have spent years and years and years of study cultivating your natural gifts, your wisdom, your energy, your information, your ideas, your talents. And then you go and not even barter with somebody who says to you, I'm going to pay you £10 an hour. And you're actually selling yourself to the highest bidder without recognizing the true value that you actually hold. Right? Your ability to solve a specific problem, that value is unquantifiable. So you should never, ever, ever be in lack or ever be in poverty. But because we are not taught how to use that and untapped wisdom and knowledge for ourselves and to benefit ourselves and invest that energy into growing businesses that are not only going to provide for ourselves, but are going to provide for others, we're doing ourselves and each other a great disservice. Right? We are investing our energy, our God-given divine energy into systems and orchestrations and organizations that don't give back to us. So the vision and the mission of what I received today was about recognizing that what's happening right now is an opportunity for us to recognize, number one, the divinity of our power. We are not just flesh and bone walking around who can be controlled by the system. We are divine aspects of light. We are divine beings that have come here with gifts to share, with ideas to bring forward, and actions that are going to help to change things and bring in the reality that we want to see. Also, that we are not in a space of lack, and so we have to be aware of the shadow work that it requires to unprogram and untether ourselves from the illusions that we have been fed. That's why the shadow working is so important. It's about pulling off those layers of illusion so that you can tap into the richness of your soul. All of these gifts that we have been taught about, telepathy, the ability to be empathetic, the ability to know, the ability to see, these are all natural gifts. We don't only have 5 senses. We have have 12 that are available to us. But due to our falling consciousness, we are not able to access those powers and access those senses. So through the process of shadow work, through the process of healing, through the process of putting out all of those false programs that don't make sense and don't benefit you as a being, you start to come into alignment with your divinity. And that is what our purpose here is to do, to come into alignment with that divinity, remember what it is that we came to do, that soul consciousness that's within us, and to move from that space. Because humanity is evolving in consciousness. And to be fair, this is something that is a long time coming. And if you look at our ancestors, they've already been in this space of consciousness. So you can see that something happened for us to fall. Something happened. When we talk about the fall of man, we're talking about us and our fall from our divinity, from recognizing ourselves as divine in the flesh, to us recognizing ourselves as slaves and being enslaved. So as I continue to work with the energy of Archangel Sachiel, I was being told about the importance of the dragon energy this year. So if you look in the Chinese astrology, it's the wood dragon energy that's coming forth this year. And when I asked about what does this mean, our planet is covered in energetic lines called ley lines. This is literally the electrical blood life force of the planet, right? And particular ley lines are in particular places, and that energy can be harvested and manipulated to do different things. Why do you think the pyramids are where they are? Why do you think that specific places like the Pentagon are where they are and set up in certain sacred geometry symbols and ways in order to harvest energy and power, right? There are specific ley lines on the planet. The planet herself has specific chakras. She is a living entity. So the Chinese, when they look at the dragon is connected to the ley lines, the currents of life force energy that flow through the planet, right? And so as we see us coming into this energy, this is about bringing more light into the planet, more energy into the planet to raise its frequency. And by raising its frequency, we also raise our frequency. We have the same energetic ley lines within our own body called the nadis, or the meridian lines, through which electricity and divine currents flow through. When we are unwell, those currents aren't flowing freely, and we've developed sickness in our body. It's the same with the planet. And so what is happening is, as the planet accelerates in vibrational frequency, meaning she gets faster and hotter, as that happens, these energetic ley lines are being flushed with new energy that helps to elevate the consciousness of the planet, but also to regenerate the planet. This planet has been in existence for a very long time. Okay, so she's not about to be destroyed right now, but what is happening is an energetic upgrade to the planet. The energy of the planet is shifting, and so therefore it's shifting within us too. That's why you're seeing a lot of people who are dying, especially from things like heart attacks or strokes. Those are all connected to the electromagnetic body, the electromagnetic field of the body, and how each person's body is able to channel that divine energy. So when we talk about the wood dragon, we're talking about the wood being the earth, being the abundance, being the plentiful richness of the earth. And we're talking about the dragon. We're talking about that illuminating energy. We're talking about the power. So this is showing us that the focus of this year is going to be about being able to uncover and utilize the richness in Earth's abundance, and also the richness in you. Right? So it's really important for you to look at your talents, look at your gifts, and think about how you can create solutions that are not only going to help yourself, but help others, and also put you in the frequency of abundance. When I hear a lot of people talking about, wanting to build healing spaces and healing retreats and spaces all over the planet. This is also part of the healing and the raising of the vibrational frequency of this planet, because as the vibrational frequency of the planet raises, you'll find that people will become ill, because we are purging from lower frequencies. We've been living in an unhealthy environment, whether that's in our body and in the world that we're living in. So in order for us to expand, we have to vibrate. And when something vibrates, it shakes off everything that is not of this new higher frequency. So that's why, again, the shadow work is important, but also why you have to raise the frequency of your body by changing the way that you eat, by understanding the fact that you are energy, and learning how to utilize that energy, learning how to work with that energy. And so when we had this thing around the pandemic where they talked about 5D consciousness, and everybody was now talking about how they wanted to get crystals and all these kind of things, that was the awakening of our understanding that we are not 3D material physical static bodies, that we are electromagnetic vehicles, and that we can be imprinted and affected by the frequencies that we can't see. But then that also means that we can also use those same frequencies to enhance ourselves. So you will see this emergence in even the medical fields, and this advancement in technology, in how we use technology to heal our bodies, whether it's through tuning forks or sound waves. It's understanding that we are energy. So this energy of the dragon energy is also about us raising our kundalini. It's about us being aware of how energy moves through our body and us learning to master that energy. It's learning how to use your psychic energy. People are afraid of things like obia and afraid of witchcraft, and that's only when you use psychic energy in a maleficent way, meaning that you're using it for some negativity, right? But we have 360 degrees of knowledge. So when we're now using that psychic energy, the ability to control your mind and project energy, when you're using that for good, it now helps to accelerate, you know, the prosperity and abundance of everyone. So this is a time for us to start upgrading our energetic system, learning how to use that energy, learning how to channel that energy, learning how to tap into higher levels of consciousness. The reason why our ancestors knew the things that they knew is because they were able to tap into higher levels of consciousness. Whereas we in this collective reality have been trapped in this false matrix box. We've been taught not to believe in anything outside of this elusive false matrix, outside of anything that's been created within this false matrix. Everything else has been demonized. Spirituality demonized, or given this kind of fake, airy, fairy, fluffy image to kind of desensitize us to the real stuff. And all of the other stuff, like being able to tune into an ancestral consciousness, which is in your blood. It's not like these zombies and these ghosts outside, even though those things are energy and entities. It's understanding that we don't have to be afraid of everything in the universe, that we are part of everything within the universe. And so when we understand how to utilize the universe within us, we then know how to master the universe externally. If I wanted to enslave a race of beings who have the divine gift of free will, who have the divine ability to manifest and create, I would tell them that they are nothing. I would make them afraid of themselves. How do you destroy the indestructible? By making it think that it can be destroyed. How do you think that they were able to destabilize most of the indigenous people from opposing this oppression and collective slavery? By demonizing them and demonizing the world against their talents, their ways of connecting with spirit, their ways of calling upon the forces of Nature to work on their behalf. These are all of the things that they had to do to turn us away from our power and instead get us to pray to something outside of ourselves, get us to be in a space of wanting and waiting, whilst in the back they're taking away from us the one thing that we have the power to cultivate, and that is our divine energy, our divine essence. We were given custodianship of this planet to enjoy its richness and to enjoy its abundance, but we cannot do so because we in ourselves have been enslaved. And this enslavement has come about through the manipulation of our knowledge, through the enforcement of religions on us, through blood, through war, through poverty, through tyranny, and so we've been, as I said, suppressed into this box of limitations of what it is that we know ourselves to be and the power that we have access to. And so the entry back into that power is through your body. It's through clearing those limiting programs and beliefs that says you can't do this and you can't do that, clearing all of that and tapping into truth, clearing away all of these things that say you have to live in illusion in order to survive. Again, getting rid of that and being willing to stand up for truth and for justice. Again, it's the awakening of this divine power within us. This dragon, again, representing that kundalini energy awakening within us and that elevation of higher self-consciousness that takes place within us. We are moving from slavery to sovereignty. So why was the 8 important? The 8 was important because 8 is the number of abundance. 8 is the number of breaking of chains, and 8 is the number of cycles. So we can choose in this moment to continue the old cycle and old false loop of being regurgitated into a reality and in a world where we are slaves, or we can break that chain and start creating the reality of the world as the divine intended it to be, where we are prosperous, where we are abundant, where we are divine, divinely connected to our truth, where we are standing in truth, not just for ourselves, but for also for others. And we are living as one collective human. And that does not mean that everybody gets along and everybody is the same, but we are one divine consciousness. And that is what we are coming to be a part of bringing onto this planet. It talks about the 2,000 years of peace and prosperity that will come on this planet as of from now. And we are the ones that are part of changing it. So the reason why I wanted to come on to this platform today is to share the knowledge that you are responsible for being the breaker of the chains, breaking the chains of illusion on your mind of what it is that you can create and who it is that you are, breaking the chains of illusions on your hands of what it is that you can create and who it is that you are. When I was in my meditation and spirit was like, okay, we want you to go, we want you to talk now, I was like, oh, okay. Like my prayer mat and everything is still there. I'm still with my feet placed in spirit. And the reason why it was important for me to act on that was because when you are being called, when you are being called, you have to follow your heart. You have to follow your heart, not your head, not the part of you that says to you, oh no, this isn't going to work, or no one's going to be interested. You have to follow the call of your heart and follow the call of your soul and be moved by that. And that is why, again, the shadow work, the healing and stuff is important, so that you can peel off the layers. Who's talking to you? Is it your parents that, you know, had these perceptions and these ways and these values? Is it the experiences that you went through? Is it your trauma? Is it your shadow self, the part of you that you suppressed? Who is talking to you and who is talking through you? In order to get to that sharpness and that clarity of divinity within, you've got to peel away those layers. So you do have to do the shadow work, but ultimately knowing that you are not the experiences, you are not the trauma, you're not even the person. You are the soul, the energy, the light that exists beyond it all. And that light is connected to this one divine light. And that light inside you knows all things. The only way that you get to know that it knows all things is when you start listening to it, which is when you start trusting it, when you start moving forward, when you start trusting in that inner voice and cultivating that inner voice more than listening to those voices outside of you, because that's one of the other ways in which we have been turned against ourselves, giving more power to things outside of us than that within ourselves. We ask the source for a message, we ask the source for guidance, but we don't believe it when we hear it, because we haven't cultivated that relationship with ourselves. We don't know the difference between our ego voice, we don't know the difference between our higher self voice, we don't know the difference between our guardian's voice. We don't know this because we are not tethered to the truth within ourselves. We are constantly in a space of seeking guidance, seeking support, seeking the divine outside of ourselves. And so we have left our thrones abandoned. The throne is within your own heart. The tabernacle is within your own mind. And it's the knowing that you are the divine in the flesh and the wielding of the divine authority that was gifted to you by birth and by virtue of you as a divine human on this planet. So today I'm encouraging you to be willing to release the shackles of your mind. I'm encouraging you to start inquiring within rather than inquiring without. I'm encouraging you to start looking at the areas within your life where you need to start drawing back your power, where you have enslaved yourself to the visions, perspectives, objectives of another, where you've told yourself, I can't do this because I haven't got this, where you've told yourself that I can't create this because I don't have this. And I want to remind you that you are a creator being, that you are divine, that the thoughts that you have are valuable. The things you create are valuable. The energy that you have is valuable. And the only way that you are going to shift your experience is when you start utilizing that energy for yourself, recognizing that energy for yourself. Just imagine if we all were coming from that place of knowing ourselves as divine beings. No one can tell us to come and do anything that isn't in the highest good for all of humanity. No one can have war and we're just standing by if we are all in our divinity and understand the power and sanctity and sacredness of what it means to be human. The world is calling for change. And in order for change to take place, there has to be a transformation that takes place within. And that is a shift from, like Archangel Sachiel said to me today, a shift from slave consciousness to sovereignty. How are you a slave in your reality? How are you a slave to your reality? How can you break those tethers? How can you break those hooks and become sovereign, become the divine authority in your life and become the divine authority in your reality? That is the journey that we are on. And so this year, it's really about breaking those chains and breaking those illusions upon yourself. Because the first person that you have to work on is yourself. The first person you have to convince is yourself. What illusions do you need to break within yourself? What restrictions have you placed on yourself? What have you told yourself that you cannot do? What time restrictions have you placed on yourself where you've got visions calling out from your spirit that you're saying, I can't do that because I don't have X, Y, Z? What ways are you still holding your divine self hostage to your limited self, to your human self, to your traumatic self? How do the parts of you still need to be brought into love and harmony? Is your inner child still running the show? Are you walking your journey from a place of trauma, or are you walking your journey from a place of triumph, from a place of wisdom? We are being asked to really tap into the sovereignty of our soul, and anything that's in the way, don't be afraid to challenge it. Don't be afraid to challenge it, because you are not that. You are not the situations. You're not the lack. You're not the experience. All of those experiences, even the experience of lack, you chose in order to allow you the opportunity to come into this space of knowing. So now you know you're not a slave. Who are you? Who are you? What did you come to do? What did you come to give? What did you come to give birth to? What change did you come to break, to make, to manifest, and to create? Who are you? When you look into the mirror this evening, look beyond the face and look beyond the image and look beyond the insecurities and look beyond the labels and really take a chance to look into your soul. Because when you do, that will be the opportunity for you to tap into the infinite power of the divine that dwells within you. Because how do you destroy the indestructible? You are an indestructible being, but how can you be destroyed? By destroying yourself. By destroying yourself. This year of 2024, your attention and your energy is going to be so powerful. How are you going to use it? How are you going to utilize it? Are you going to still define yourself based on the money that you have in your bank account? Or are you going to recognize that you are a divine being? This is the question that Archangel Sachiel wanted to bring. Because also when you look at the fact that Archangel Sachiel is the covering of God, it makes you to know that you are covered in mercy, covered in strength, covered in abundance, covered in divinity. And when you recognize that you are not of this earth, you recognize that you are not bound by the conditions of this earth. And so you tap into something greater than yourself, and you become the vehicle through which that thing now manifests. You're being encouraged today to see the greatness and the power in you, as the divine in you. We're being encouraged to tap into and rediscover that power within ourselves. And that manifests on all different levels, whether it's the level of how power and energy manifests within your body. Do you need to wait till you get unwell before you have to learn how to tap into the consciousness of your body? Where does your power truly lie, and where in your life, in your reality, are you feeling disempowered? Those are the spaces in which you have to start the work and start asking those questions. Okay? I think that's the end of that transmission. So thank you, Archangel Sachiel, for guiding me to come over here and just talk about the energy of power and divine power, and really us moving from this place of being a slave to being a sovereign and understanding what that is. If anybody would like me to pull a card for them, then I will do so, just to bring forth some energies and angelic messages. Like I said to you, angels are not people or these beings that we see. Angelic consciousness is higher level consciousness that we can tap into at any time. I'm just going to see if there's any questions here as well. And I really want to thank you all for sitting with me as I went through this download. I could feel you all coming in and coming out as waves of consciousness. So I really appreciate you. Anna Embodiment said, free yourself from the cage that is inside the bird. I love that. Free yourself from the cage that is inside of the bird. I love that. Somebody says, what do you mean by power? Can you expand on that? Power is energy. And so if I'm talking about power, I'm talking about the power that you have, the energy and current that you have. The power is energy. But if there's something that you want to ask specifically with regards to that, then please do put that in the comment below. Someone says, you are talking about authenticity. How did you find your authenticity? Okay, my authenticity is something I'm still cultivating, because I realize that authenticity comes from being yourself, and you don't know who you are, because we are conditioned from our birth to be something else and to not be authentic. We are taught to have masks. We are taught that there's a different version of ourselves required for different environments and different spaces. So authenticity wasn't something that I was around a lot, because you're not taught to be authentic. One thing I will say to you is that your experiences, your traumas, your experiences are going to help you to awaken and uncover different parts of yourself, different gifts that you're going to need, and also shut down certain parts of you so that you can see the value of those parts of you. So a part of my journey, I went through sexual abuse when I was younger, and I knew that it was going to happen because I saw it spiritually, and I knew that part of my purpose was to speak on it, because I knew that in my family there had been this generational curse of people being sexually abused and it not being talked about. A lot of secrets in my family lineage. And so when it happened to me, even though I was devastated, I was still traumatized by the experience, I knew that I had to tell my parent, because that's what God instructed me to do, and that was the whole purpose of what I was going through. So I went and I spoke to my mother about it, and as I told her about it, I literally saw her soul fragment into pieces behind her face, and her mouth shut like this, and basically that's what she did to me. And what I learned in that moment is that humans, especially adult humans, they don't like to hear the truth because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And because maybe their truths have been shut down and suppressed, I know that that's also a thing as well. But what I came to do was to reveal truth. And so even though my role and my purpose in that moment was to share my truth and to be honest and authentic, it wasn't welcomed. And so what that taught me as a child subconsciously was that people don't like to hear the truth, that humans aren't comfortable with truth, especially adults. So that set me on a journey of being a people pleaser. Like even with my gifts, I was always trying to find the best way and the most safe and suitable way to be able to help people, therefore rendering myself as a slave because I'm not fully in my power, and me utilizing my gift and my power is dependent on what other people think of me. So bringing it back to the story, as I'm doing my shadow work, I'm learning to be authentic. As I'm pulling off of the layers off of myself and pulling out the subconscious agreements that I've made to uphold this false, elusive reality that we live in, I'm coming more into my authenticity. It requires that you step in your truth. It requires that you're willing to be wrong. It doesn't matter. It's about you being willing to just stand up for what's true and be that truth. That is how you find your authenticity. And it's a sacrifice, because you have to sacrifice the people pleaser in your life. You have to sacrifice the people pleaser that has been set up in you, that ends up being an enemy against you, in order for you to step into authenticity. And it's a choice. You can lose friends when you be authentic. You can even lose your job by being authentic. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Thanks. Oh, thank you, son. Thank you. Anything else? Oh, nice one. Thanks, son. You see, that's my son. Ooh, I'll show you, that was my son bringing me something to eat. Okay, sorry. Yeah, what was I saying? Okay. If that resonates with you, let me know. And if you have any questions about your own shadow journey, if you have any questions about anything that you would want to ask, then please do. And if you would like me to pull an angel card for you, I will definitely do that as well. I'll be on here for the next, let's say, 5 minutes, because I have to eat the food that my son just brought me. Greetings, sis. Mwah! Greetings, Sister Michelle Escoffrey, with the comment saying giving love. Yes, 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 yes. Agrabino says, but being authentic will lead you to your true life purpose. Yeah, it will. But authenticity, I'm just letting you know that authenticity is not something that is necessarily encouraged. But as we move into this new reality, it's welcomed, because guess what? Our higher sense, the reason why we have fallen in consciousness is because we have believed in the idea of separation and division. Right? And if you really look at what's happened to humanity, it's just been a lot of division, separation from God, separation from our family, separation from ourselves, separation inside, masculine, feminine. Everything is separation, right? And in order to really understand it, is to bring it all into oneness. It's to bring it all into oneness, to bring it all into wholeness, to recognize your light and your dark are occupying the same space and have exactly the same purpose. So everything over this next stage is going to be about bringing things together, because those lower 5 senses are the ones that we have because we have separated ourselves from everything. But when you start doing the shadow work, and when you start expanding into more of who we are as beings, and those higher senses start to develop. Indigo children. I was an indigo child. I was born with my 6th chakra and my 6th DNA strand activated, because that's the gift that I came in with, right? Because naturally we have 12 DNA strands, and all of those 12 DNA strands correspond to those 12 glands in our body and in our etheric body, and also correspond to the 12 senses, the 12 aspects of the way in which we perceive energy. So empathy, right, is actually a 6th sense, but it's awakening now in us. And you're finding that people who are empathetic are having to learn how to navigate and utilize that skill. Why? Because we have been so disconnected before. And so empathy hasn't been something that we have really been exercising in our channels of the way that we perceive each other's energy. We've been so closed from each other. Instead, we'll have sympathy, or jump in with them, or we'll have complete disregard. Okay, that's not happening to me. So now you'll see that more beings are coming in with that 5th sense awakened of empathy, because we're going to get to that space where we're able to be telepathic with each other. We can feel each other's thoughts. We can feel each other's vibes, right? But in order to now do that without harming each other, we have to do the shadow work. Because I even find, like, now when somebody says one thing to me, but there's an energetic resonance underneath what they're saying, I'm feeling what they're saying more than what I'm hearing. Why? Because that energetic vibration of emotion is more powerful than the word, because we've used the words to manipulate and lie and deceive to each other. But one thing you can't manipulate and lie and deceive with is your energy. Right? You know, when somebody's vexed with you, or when somebody's got a bad energy, you can feel it. No matter what they say, you can feel it. But in order for us to learn to trust in those senses, we've got to get rid of the distortions that are in the energetic layers of our body that allow us to receive that information. And what are those distortions? They're the traumas, they're the limiting beliefs, they're the mistrust in ourselves, there's a mistrust in others. So this is why the shadow healing is important, so that we can start coming into the expansion of these higher senses. Telepathy, right, is another one of the higher senses. Now, just imagine if we could all read each other's minds and hear each other's thoughts. We'd probably want to war each other all the time, because we don't have pure thoughts. We would think one thing about somebody and really be saying something else. So we're not in congruence. We're not in harmony with our being. We're not in harmony with our external reality, and we're not in harmony with our internal reality. We're not in harmony with our truth. Why do you think so many people get imposter syndrome? Because they create a personality, and behind that, who they are is still dealing with challenges, issues. You know, maybe their leadership and their desire to be a leader comes from them being suppressed as a child. There's all of these different things which inform the way that we show up in the world. And so what's being asked of us right now is to start working through those different layers to get to that authentic self, so that we can now, as humans, expand our consciousness in terms of how we experience each other. Right? I'm a projector by human design, because we've got all of these new different modalities helping us to understand our human consciousness and the energy of a projector, or in other aspects, I'm a vortex. So what do? I pull in energy constantly. As a projector, I'm always projecting my field into the field of others, and I'm able to read their field. I'm able to feel their field. I'm able to see things that they're not able to see, and feel things that they're not able to see, right? So that's a gift. That is a talent, but it's also a gift that we have. But if we're not in congruency and harmony, that means that even when I'm expanding into people's fields, if I'm not coming from a pure place, they can feel it. And there are going to be some people who look at me and they feel like, no, her energy is not for me, because we're not aligned, and that is okay. But these are the ways in which we will expand as humans. So we can't be now in deception with ourselves, because we're all actually ourselves, right? So until we can be trusted to be authentic and truthful, that's when we enter or initiated into these higher senses that we have. So again, the shadow work and doing all of that stuff is important. Otherwise, you will remain in the loop of lessons. Yeah, someone said separation makes it easier for us, makes us easier to control. Yes, and also easier to deny. So when you even separate parts of yourself and say, okay, well, I have a divine self that knows the creator, but I don't tell anybody about that. And I just, a normal everyday person. You're denying yourself. You're denying the parts of we deny the parts of ourselves as well for what we can control. And really it's about harmony. It's about bringing everything into alignment. Okay. Definitely going to do those cards. Just checking if there's any more questions. Keith said, have you noticed the level you are at tends to isolate you? Of course it does, because new levels bring new devils, right? And what I mean by that is you are an energetic field in itself. So when you are at a certain level in your reality, everything inside of you and all of the people that you're connected with are all focused subconsciously on helping you to illuminate whatever darkness so that you can gain whatever wisdom. And I don't always mean darkness by something bad. Illuminating darkness, thank you, son. Illuminating darkness can also be about what's hidden, right? So that you can learn to master yourself. Now, when you get to the fullness of that level, all of those people that you were around that were helping you with that particular lesson, they don't necessarily meet the vibrational match of the frequency of where you're going. They might just be at that frequency doing that job. That's who you were meant to be around to connect with. And so as you've now learnt those lessons and evolved beyond that space, you now enter into a new space. And by entering into that new space, it's a new reality. It's like a new world. So, of course, it's going to be isolated because really as well, there is only you versus you. So we're always coming back to the self. You go out, you learn, you come back to the self. And so we have to get used to being comfortable with ourselves. So solitude, soul eye today. I look at it like that. Today, I connect with my soul. Because there is only you and God, right? Everything else, everyone else is just a refraction of one consciousness. You don't even exist apart from in your own reality, right? And in the realities of those who you have co-created or co-signed to be with, teaching each other the lessons. So yes, you will find that you will become isolated or go through a process of isolation. But isolation is unification with one's soul. And we need to constantly be in direct communication with our soul in order to gain its knowledge and wisdom, because sometimes people, places, things can be a distraction from what it is that you've come here to learn. Okay, I love that comment though. Thank you, Keith. Okay, so I'm going to pull some cards in a minute. If anybody else has got a question or anything that they want to add to that, I would really love to hear. Keith says it's total acceptance of being. Yes, all of it. Light, dark, good, bad, yin, yang, marriage, woman. You know, like it's all about self. It was Valentine's Day yesterday, and I know so many people who were like, you know, feeling like they had lost a limb because they weren't receiving gifts or love or anything like that yesterday. And for me, it was really about, I was celebrating the love with oneself. I was celebrating that recently I had been through a healing within oneself, a marriage within oneself, where I realized that all that I was looking for in the external masculine was really what I had needed to do for myself. Like it was my internal masculine outsourcing the work. So especially as a woman and growing up as a young woman, you know, there's these archetypes and these stories of the damsel in distress and the need to be rescued and the need to be protected and all of these kind of stuff, right? In a way that's outsourcing your masculine energy. Now doesn't mean that when you come into relationship with a man that you're not supposed to be able to shift between your feminine and masculine energy, to be in your softness when required and when needed, but also being willing and able to direct when it's needed, right? You're supposed to be achieving balance in here. So yesterday I celebrated the fact that I had recognized and reconciled with my inner masculine. You know, that inner masculine is there for me, caring and nurturing and protecting of me and creating boundaries for me in a way that doesn't lock my goodness out, but allows me to feel safe and allows my feminine energy to flourish and be creative and all of that kind of stuff. It's about divine marriage within. And I know that divine marriage within now prepares the way for a true divine marriage externally, because every relationship up until this point was helping me to get back into alignment with myself. That's really what it is. And then when you've done that, then you meet someone else who's in alignment with themselves, and then you come together and do the works, right? But yeah, it's always about bringing back those parts of self back to self. And once you can do that, then you can become the orchestrator of your reality, but also present to all of the shifts that are taking place without feeling like there's any lack or there's any loss taking place. Yes. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for comments. The beloved within, truth is felt, everything comes back to one. Yes, Michelle, everything comes back to one. And that is it. Everything always comes back to one. Everything always comes back to source. Everything always comes back to self. Whitney said, Hieros Gamos, exactly. Without all of the bells and whistles, it literally is just you recognizing that you've been outsourcing different parts of yourself and to bring yourself into oneness. Okay. And somebody said a gift should be every day. When alone, it is to be all one. I wrote a post about it a couple of weeks ago when I was really being called to presence, the power of presence. And like you just said, Keith, it's a gift, but it's like the power of presence. Like when you are present, that's when everything is available to you. Nothing in the universe rests. Everything moves. Laws of the universe, again, will show you that nothing in the universe rests. There is no resting. There is no moving backwards of planets. Just things either slow down or speed up. And so if you want to know something, you should slow down. If you want to understand something, you should slow down. If you want something, if you think something's happening that's overwhelming you, stand still. Because from that place of standing still, this too shall pass. And from that place of standing still, you'll be able to understand what it is that this experience is teaching you. So no, don't be afraid of stillness. Don't be afraid to be present. Because from there, everything will make sense. Okay? All right. So giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks. I'm going to pull some cards for you guys. If you did make a comment before and ask for a card, then please just put it in the comment below again, so the box up below again, so that I can see it now. Otherwise, I've got to scroll back and it kind of messes up the flow. Yes, the power of the pause, Michelle. I love that. And Keith says to do nothing is to do everything. Ashe! Ashe! All right, so if you do want a card, then please do put a comment now and say pick a card for me. I'm going to start with Michelle, and then I'm going to go down. Yes, I'm going to start with Michelle and I'm going to go down. All right, Divine Creative Order is Angelic's guides, please. Hearts for a clear and safe channel to bring forth any divine knowledge, insight and inspiration for those who sit before me. I call upon the angels of light to surround us and seal us all with light so no negativity may enter, and that the information that I bring through is streamed directly from divine source and divine source intelligence. In the name of Yah, I give thanks. Ashe. All right, Ashe. So I'm starting with Michelle. Spirit angels, what is it that you have a message for Michelle Escoffrey? Okay. I let spirit speak. Okay, so the card that came, ooh, Goddess of the Unknown. So a new chapter of your life is around the corner. Remove fear and embrace the unknown. So Michelle, you are being encouraged to step into the dark mystery. And what that means is there's a part of yourself that is powerful, is absolute power. But we only get to see that part of ourselves when we close our eyes and we tap in to hear. And we let that part lead from within, right? That's not the part that everybody else is going to see. That's the part that's there for you to see. So Spirit is asking you to tap into the unknown, like embrace a new aspect that's coming forth in your life. Embrace the unknown, but recognize that the power that you have to move forward is already within you. I hope that resonates. Please do let me know if it does resonate. And guys, I'm an energy person. So if you've never been on one of my lives before, I love energy, meaning I love to see hearts. I love to see emojis. It gives me energy, which I then give back to you. I am a vibratory being. So please don't be shy with the hearts and don't be shy with the emojis. Okay. All right. Thank you. So Michelle, I hope that you received that message. Listen, big things are going on, and step in. And you want to know something as well? What I'm hearing is if you feel like you don't know something, step back into the darkness. Step back into the darkness of your own mind and your own being and your own spirit and allow the information to come through. So picking now a card for emancipation, because you're there, and I'm being asked to pick from the Angels of Atlantis card deck for you. Okay, Angels of Atlantis. Angels of Atlantis just have a slightly more galactic frequency because they are assigned to do a lot of the work that's happening on this planet right now. Again, remember, when I'm talking about angels, I'm not talking about woolly haired beings. I'm talking about dimensions of light and consciousness that we can tap into. So emancipation. Oh my God, your name is Emancipation, and the angels have a message for you. It's time for you to surrender. Okay, and this is Archangel Zafkiel, who's also, Zafkiel is the more new age name for the energy that I was working with, which is Sashiel, Archangel of wealth and well-being. And he's asking you to surrender. That frequency is asking you to surrender. And you see, in this surrendering, people think that surrendering is the hardest thing to do. They think, oh, but if I surrender, I give up. No, to surrender means to open up. To surrender means to let go of your limitation. Like, you've got yourself as far as you can. Now open up to being helped. Open up to being held. Open up to more power coming from you. Open up to expansion. So Zafkiel's asking you right now to surrender, because something big is coming in. Something big is coming in, and it's more of you that's coming in. But you're not able to receive it if you are stuck in old perceptions of yourself and in old limiting beliefs. Allow spirit to come through you. Allow the source, God, to come through you by opening up and surrendering. And also, if you're going through anything challenging in your life right now, don't hold on to nothing. If you're feeling like you're having to hold on to things and fight for things, let that go, because it means that something greater is coming. Resistance, guys. We are so familiar with resistance. We are so tethered to things that are happening in our lives that we don't want to let go. But I promise you, by the letting go, you free your hands to receive more. Your hands cannot grasp if it is holding on. So there's something around that as well for you. I pray that that resonates. If it does, please leave me a comment in the box below. All right, Spirit, this is for the one that goes under the name of Ginger. And the card just fell out as I thought of you. So Ginger, you have got the card that says the Goddess of Sacred Power. You are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation. So where are you being called to step forward? Where are you being called to make your own decisions? Where are you being called to go against the grain is what I'm hearing. Where are you being called to go against the grain, Ginger? Because this is really what Spirit is calling for you forth now. You know, there's a lot of us who have got a lot of divine gifts, a lot of divine insight and inspiration, but we're afraid to be seen. We're afraid of other people's reflections. We're afraid of how people are going to receive us. And that's what I mean with this power of number 8. It's about breaking those loops, breaking those karmic limiting beliefs, and allowing ourselves to come into the joyous expectation of our good, and also to come into the joyous discovery of who it is that we are, right? This is about soul awakening. This is about getting to know new parts of yourself, which you cannot do if you are still viewing yourself based on the old versions of yourself, right? Each day you get up and you have an opportunity to tap into the divinity that you actually are. Or you can allow the illusions of the past and the perceptions that other people have on you to be imprinted on you each and every day. You have that choice. So you are being encouraged to tap into the sacred power within you. And if you don't feel powerful, go into prayer and meditation and ask for that to be shown. Play some music that makes you feel powerful, because it's a frequency, it's an energy. And sometimes we try to intellectualize everything. Oh, I don't know how to be powerful, or I don't know how to surrender. Put on some music. Use the vibrational frequencies to take you out of your mind and into your body, and then into spirit. That's what's going to help you. So I hope that that resonates with you. Yes. Oh my God, I haven't done this in so long. So I'm so grateful to be of service today. You see, Archangel Sashiel says, I am sharing my wealth with you all, because my wealth is my wisdom. My wealth is my inspiration. It's what I have access to. So Sister Whitney, I am going to do a card for you. What came into my consciousness as well was, before I came on today, when I actually came on today, the first thing that I saw was a post about the recession, about the UK officially being in recession. Let me tell you something, guys. Number one, that was a confirmation that what I was saying was on point and very necessary. But let me tell you something. A recession for them is a blessing for us. So utilize this experience to accelerate. If you understand what takes place in recessions, billionaires are born in recessions, right? The recessions are a gateway for those who are able to tap into their divine sovereignty and create solutions for other people, and take opportunities and risks that that other people aren't willing to take. So I just wanted to share that quickly, because I saw Whitney Olsen 888, and I wanted to keep tying in the different signs that I was seeing. Remember, I wasn't planning to do this today. I was literally on my mat. I've been on my mat praying since 8 o'clock this morning. I'm praying for people. I'm praying for myself. And then when this energy came in, I tested the spirit, because I also always test everything. And when I understood the wisdom that was coming through, I sat with it. And I'm grateful that I did, because this transition is an opportunity and an activation for all of us to untether our mind, our body and our spirit from the idea and the illusion of slavery. You are a divine sovereign being. All right, so I want to pull a card now for Whitney Olsen Spirit. I'm calling on the angels of Atlantis. Oh, okay. I love it when it's like that. So thank you for the hearts, guys. Thank you for the hearts. see, my voice even goes higher when I get all the energy back. So thank you. All right. So Whitney, you are lucky, and it's because you got the 888. So Spirit was like, okay, I'm going to bless you. So the first card that you got was Metatron. Metatron is the divine architect. So when I was talking before about the ley lines of the planet and sacred geometry, that's governed by Metatron. And Metatron is connected to your 12th chakra. Your 12th chakra is in your etheric system. So it's connected to your, I think it's your Atma level of your auric field, and it's connected to your 12th chakra. And so the 12th chakra represents the stellar gateway, which represents the seat of divine consciousness. So what this is saying to you is, girl, tap in. Spirit is trying to talk to you about something. Spirit is trying to download some new information to you. And a lot of the time at the moment, Whitney, I'm seeing you. This is what they're showing me, that you're looking out a lot. You're starting to get a little bit, what's the word? Sometimes you go through feeling a little bit despondent in your mission, in your message. Sometimes you question if you're on the right path, if anyone's listening. If you know, and then you go through your own stuff in your own life, which then makes you question, are you meant to be doing this work? But Spirit wants you to be the active principle in your own experience, in your own journey, to be in direct communication with the lower self and with the source, and recognize there's no separation. The separation only happens when you start to see yourself as separate. So Spirit is saying to you, you need to tap into this divine intelligence. Oh, you see, integrity, Hanayal, integrity. And I was picking up on that because it's like sometimes we feel like we're not good enough, or that we have to be something in order to be on this mission, and it's not true. Like, your purpose is to continue to evolve, and as you continue to evolve and grow, sharing what you are learning about yourself with those people who are aligned to listen and hear, and that's going to change at different times. But I think that we all go through this thing, because I'm going through it now. Like, in myself, I'm not going to be showing up in the same way that I was showing up before, because in the way I was showing up before, I was still a result of my trauma. I was still a result of people pleasing and certain things. And now, as I'm growing into a more awareness of myself and healing that, I can't show up in the same way. It's just not going to be in alignment. It's just not. So this idea that we have to continue to be the same person all the time is a false matrix, because nothing in the universe stays the same. Everything grows. And so us getting used to the transient nature of people and energy in our life is also important. Some people are going to come, some people are going to stay, and some people are going to go, right? Because we are constantly changing. So when you've constantly got the same people around you, I mean, there's always going to be like 3 or 4 people that are on this journey with you, but you'll find that they're also constantly evolving and changing as well. And you both just create space for each other's growth and change, right? So Hanael is asking you to come into integrity. Hanael is showing the root chakra, because this is the ruby. This is the ruby race. This is the root chakra. So in your root chakra, there are some things that need to be tweaked around you being able to sit fully in your power in terms of your integrity, about how you are holding yourself in integrity to your own journey and your own experience. It's not about other people. This is about you. And then the next card is forgiveness. Jophiel, who's governing that solar plexus energy, because sometimes we have this power struggle and we start to feel like, oh, well, I've let people down and this and that. Like, get rid of that shit. You are a transitionary being, and you are in constant dedication to yourself first and foremost, and then everybody else comes after. So I hope that resonated with you. Please leave me a comment in the box below to let me know if that was on point for you. Okay, brilliant. So aligned and blessed. If you're still here, I'm coming to you. I've done you, Michelle, and then I will do Keith. Aligned and blessed. Hello. When I read cards, I don't just pull a card and read the information. As I said to you, I'm literally projecting my energy into your energy field and receiving whatever information is specific for you right now. The cards are a prompt, but I'm picking up on the energy that's within your field. That is part of my gift. Okay, so I am reading for aligned and blessed. All right, aligned and blessed. What's the message for aligned and blessed? Okay. Angel of communication. So there's something around you opening your chakra, your throat chakra, and communicating clearly, not just with others, but also with yourself. It says communicate clearly, but don't be afraid to tell it like it is. You know, your throat chakra, people don't realize that our chakras are connected to each other, right? But they're not connected in like a linear way. They're connected by yin and yang. So you have yin and yang chakras, and then you also have polarizing chakras. And people don't realize that your throat chakra is very much connected to your solar plexus, and also very much connected to your womb. What does that mean? That means that we are most like, if our power centers are affected, if we feel fearful, if we feel in threat, if we feel flight, if we feel that the things that we want to say aren't going to be received, it will shut down our throat chakra. And that can happen, right? And so we will start to filter what we say. We will start to pacify with what we say, and then our words can no longer be trustworthy and empowering to ourselves, let alone to anybody else. The Spirit is saying right now that you have to really come back to a space of clear communication with yourself and with the divine. Sometimes when we're even asking Source or God or our angels to give us a message, we can't believe that message because we don't believe ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. So we have to build up that muscle of learning to trust yourself first, to trust the messages that you get first, to make your internal world a trustworthy place to be. Oof. Ashe. Because we get turned against ourselves. So we have to pull out all of that stuff that allows us to feel safe in our own body and then be able to express our own truth. So the message from Spirit today for you is there's something around being able to align with your truth and express it as authentically as it comes up, because that's what's going to allow you to be in your power. Okay, don't be afraid to tell it like it is. Sometimes people need it. Sometimes people need your truth. I remember when I was younger, I was talked out of on many occasions. I remember one teacher at school, I was speaking something very honestly and openly. She goes, "Who do you think you are?" And I was like, oh. I told her my name because I'm like, I know who I am. And I got penalized for that. I got put into detention. And because as children, we want to be good people. We want to be good beings. We know that being good gets us what we need to get to because we're trained like that. I chose to shut down that part of myself that tells the truth. Remember, first from the abuse, and then now from being in an environment, because I'm shown that if I speak up my truth, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to get penalized. How many of us may have had past lives where we were persecuted for speaking up for others and persecuted for speaking our truth? Those memories are locked in our genes and in our consciousness. But ultimately, so that in this lifetime, we can activate the karma. Karma is not about, okay, you're going to get what you deserve. No, karma is about gaining the wisdom from the lesson. Karma is about learning lessons. So when karma comes around, you get another opportunity to learn the lesson, not karma coming around with a scythe trying to cut everybody's neck off, which is what everyone thinks it is. So I hope that resonated with you, my darling. I hope that resonated with you. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm just going to pick 2 more because there's quite a lot here. Emancipation, been feeling not a fair coming transition. Thank you for the message. You're very welcome. Please. Thank you. I'm a first timer. Can I get a read? Timothy. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm just checking in with you guys. So I am going to, Whitney says, thank you eternally, sister. You're such a light to the world, as are you. We are all lighting up the world in our own little unique way. Okay, so I will do, who am I coming for? Keith, I haven't done you yet. Keith, if you're still here, I'm going to do you. And then I'm going to do STU. So Keith, Spirit, what do you want for Keith? Aye. Yes, ancestors. Keith. Oh. All right, Keith. Keith, I have to have a word with you because your energy is very potent, Keith. And the first card, 4 cards came out for you, Keith. The first card that came out is Earth Force. And yes, that's why all the cards didn't be dashed upon the floor, because you have a very, very grounded energy about you, Keith. And that grounding energy that you have is very healing. Spirit wants you to stay connected to the earth. Maybe today or tomorrow you need to go out to the earth. And Spirit wants you to use the earth as a way of charging and discharging energy for yourself. Go to the earth and ground and release, and then also go to the earth to replenish yourself. You've also got the card from Archangel Michael talking about patience. So there's something that you're waiting for, something that you're either trying to manifest or some door that you're waiting for to open. Spirit is saying that it will open. Have patience. And I think that's why I'm saying to you to go to the earth and dispel any energy, because sometimes when we're stuck thinking for too long, it kind of creates distortions within our field that can end up blocking or delaying what it is that we're actually trying to manifest. Remember, I said you everything is energy. So what you want to be doing is going into nature regularly. Sorry, the Spirit is speaking too fast for my mouth. Go into nature regularly and ground any kind of frustration or anything like that you're feeling. Like literally just dispel it into the earth, and then maybe hug the tree or in whatever way you connect with the earth to gain back strength. confidence, resilience, that kind of things. Move with grace. Gabriel is coming with the energy of grace, and then the Raphael's coming with the energy of communion. Like this is communion. This is where we're connecting with people who are like-minded. This could mean that you need to connect with somebody who's trying to do the same thing as you and maybe has achieved it, to get some confidence and some inspiration. But I feel like it's also spiritual communion as well. Something around gathering the ancestral forces behind your intentions. So there's something here around, because it's not just communion as in people, it's communion in terms of the Kabbalah, or the black box, which is about Islam and Muslims, and the communion of people coming together under the guise of one God, and then believing in that one thing, and so that their prayers and their energies amplify each other. So there's something around you seeking communion in order to strengthen yourself, and help you to bring in this thing that you're waiting for. Let me know if that resonates with you, my love. I'm going to pick a card for ST. I don't know if she's still here. STU, you still here? If you are still here, just let me know in the comments below. Timothy, if you are still here, let me know. My breakfast is getting cold. Oh, Gabriel's your guide. I love that. Oh, the gathering of light within the being of self. I love this. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah, maybe we need to connect. All right, so STU, thank you, sister. Okay, Spirit, who wants to talk to her? Okay, she just needs an angelic angel gods and goddesses mesh. Okay, cool. Okay, STU, lovely energy. I can see your face. Okay, if you hear me burp, that's because I'm clearing stuff. When I connect with people's energy, sometimes it picks up on stuff. Those who know me like I'm constantly burping, but if you Google it, it's a way of releasing spiritual energy, so please forgive me. But STU, there's a need for you to cleanse. Pardon me. And your energy is very light, so you pick up a lot of things from people. You need to cleanse with water and quartz crystals. I'm literally seeing like a bottle, you having a bottle of like a water bottle and putting quartz crystals in it, letting the water, like filling it with water, letting the water be infused with light and pouring it over your head. There's something around, something that needs to be cleared from your energetic field. You will feel that I'm cleaning a little bit of it as I'm speaking, but there's something around you just clearing your energetic field. Let me know if that's resonating with you as well. Okay. Okay. So some of the things that I'm clearing, they felt like daggers. Spirit is saying that is like, you know, sometimes when we're really hard on ourselves, like we're processing a lot of thoughts, we're worrying about things, so we become really hard on ourselves. It can be like a self-attack. And so it then clouds our judgment, it clouds our ability to get the insight, the ideas that we need to move forward. So that's why I was burping, because there was something around overthinking, like this energy of worry that needed to be cleared in order for you to be able to receive this message. And so then what Spirit is saying through the cards is, the first card that came through is the Goddess of Compassion. And it's so interesting because it says self-criticism is diminishing your sense of self-worth, girl. When did you start believing in the world more than you believe in yourself? Hey? When did you start believing in limitations and looking at limitations without recognizing the ability for miracles in your life, girl? This is what Spirit is saying to you. Spirit is saying, have some compassion, be easier on yourself, be kinder to yourself, be kinder to yourself, be easier on yourself, because it's from that place that you're going to get the solution to what you're looking for. But you're not going to get it when you beat yourself up. You're not going to get it when you chastise yourself. As I said, we really need to understand how energy works, right? When you are intense with thought, your energy contracts. It literally becomes like this. When you are expansive, when you are fluid, when you are open, when you are hopeful, it literally moves like this. And then, oh, my hand chakras are awake. Then you literally moves like this, and then information, ideas, inspiration, everything starts to move through it. But when we're like this, energy can't flow. And our thoughts do that to our energetic system. So having self-compassion, okay, so this is the frequency of compassion and love and joy. And this is the frequency of hate and fear and anger and frustration. Thank you, sis. Sending you so much love, and thank you for popping in. So it's about shifting your frequency, Spirit is saying. And then the next card that came out with it is Angel of Finances. Honor and give thanks for the blessings that you're about to receive. So if you've been worrying about money, then Spirit is saying that it's coming to you, but in a way that you're repelling it because you're chastising yourself. You're not creating space for it to flow to you in the way that it needs to flow. So I hope that resonates with you. Let me know, please, in the comments below if that was on point for you. Hey, Zena, hope you are well. I was going to do Timothy. Hey, Timothy. Hey, Timothy. STU, did that resonate with you? So, Timothy, what is it that I'm going to ask for Timothy? Thank you. I'm seeing all the hearts. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, STU. I hope that resonated. If you feel like letting me know in my DMs, then please do. Okay. So, Timothy, welcome. The cards that you got was Liberation, Archangel Jophiel. So this is the archangel that's watching over the solar plexus energy. And the cards that came up for you are Liberation and Forgiveness. So what Spirit is saying to you is it's time to let go of all of the things that are holding you back. All of the things that you even feel like you have to pay for, or the things that you have to work for, or the karma that you, whatever, all of that crap. Spirit is saying let that go. Once you recognize your mistakes or learn from your experiences, they have no more value. So get rid of them, right? Spirit is saying get rid, liberate. So if you can see here, this is the eagle. It's expand your wings. Don't let your experiences hold you down and bog you down. Sometimes we make things so hard for ourselves. But what I can tell you is energy can be transformed in an instant, literally by you willing it to be so and carrying on in the new vein of the new experience. So let's say, okay, I want to stop myself from from speaking negatively on myself. I don't say, oh my God, I'm so sorry to myself. All the times that I've spoke negatively of myself and then keep saying that, I say, you know what, from today onwards, I choose to speak words of empowerment to myself, and I choose to speak words of empowerment that come out of my mouth. And then every time from that moment forward, I choose to speak those words. Now, if for whatever reason, I then speak a word that's a curse word or whatever, I say, I acknowledge that I have spoken something that's out of harmony and in alignment with, and out of alignment with what I wanted to speak, but I let it be. And I choose in this moment to continue to work from this place of what it is that I set for myself. And that's how you choose to continue to grow. We are not here to tether ourselves with all of these things that we weigh ourselves down with, like judgments and all of this kind of stuff. It's not necessary. Energy can be transformed in an instant. Okay? All right. Well, I'm foaming at the mouth now. Not literally, but that means that I have been speaking for a long time. So I want to just thank you all for joining me on this impromptu live. I hope that it saves so that you can get access to the wisdom that was shared in the beginning, which was really important about this power of 8 and also this understanding of internal wealth. I have a few different ways in which you can connect and contact with me. If you would like a reading, a personal in-depth reading, you can send me a DM and I'll send you the link for my readings. If you would like to work with me privately in terms of your own spiritual development, I also work with women in terms of their own healing. I work with people doing the shadow work and inner child work integration. I have a retreat that is for women that is going to be on the 15th to the 17th of March, which is all about revealing your radiance. And I have a retreat that's going to be happening in October in Jamaica, which is about initiation into the temple of self. That is a rapid transformation, doing all of that inner work so that you can get to where you need to get to for 2024 and 25 onwards. So if you want to know more about my offerings, please do tap in. But for now, I just want to give thanks to the divine creator of all there is for opening up this space. And I'm asking for Archangel Michael and the energy of light, healing and transformation to purify this energetic space, both physically and etherically and energetically and online. And I ask that you bring healing and cleansing and purification to everybody in this space, to clear any cords that were made and created in this space and to remove them and rescind them back in a vibration of love. I'm praying for healing, peace, power, prosperity, and joy to manifest into the lives of everybody who watches this video, for them to receive the transmission that's for their highest good. I give thanks to the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, Divine Child. I give thanks to my ancestors, my guides. I give thanks to the consciousness of the angelics. And in the name of divine power, divine peace, divine love, and divine wisdom, this transmission is now closed. Amen. Ashe. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And I forgot to mention, for any of you guys that are interested in following the priestess path, understanding more about alchemy, then please do hit me up. I might have something really, really sacred and important to offer you. But for now, I'm wishing you a blessed, blessed, blessed and abundantly rich day. Much love.